So Mickey, all over the news are reports of the needs for social distancing. So many of our clients have sent all of their employees to work from home. In times like this, when we have to be physically separated, what do you think is important for leaders to know about remaining connected?
Well, I think this is a big question and something we should delve into frequently over the next couple of months. I'm thinking of this as the Connection Diaries, so that's not only today's short conversation. The first thing that comes to mind, though, given what you said, is the quality of a leader's communication to the people who are counting on her or him in times of challenge and uncertainty. And there are some things that we've learned about that. The first one that we think is really important is that leaders need to be the source of accurate information, not the subject of worry and gossip. Being the source, not the subject, is a crucial issue, and it needs to be accurate information that people trust, that is grounded in fact-based expertise. It actually heals people to just feel that they're in the presence of the truth. So we think that a frequent outreach where people hear from their leaders in a way that they don't have to have worry and gossip, they know they're connected, we think is really important.
Well, I think that point about frequency is so critical right now. You know, the news cycle on COVID-19 is so short, right? We're getting updates all the time. And I find that there are some leaders who are wanting to wait until they have what they feel is enough information. But in those times when you're waiting, it gives that vacuum for people to create a story. And what we know in times like this is that those stories are often generated out of fear. And so to be the source of accurate information to communicate what you do know when you know it, as opposed to waiting, we think is so critical.
Yeah. So we think communicate more often than you might think, and certainly every time where there's something new to share. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we think it's really important for leaders to create opportunities for people to contribute during times of uncertainty and challenge. A lot of leaders think they're supposed to know the answer, and so they're waiting until they have something brilliant to say. We think it's more important for the leader to know the questions and to share the questions as soon as we know them. So I may not know the answer to something like, how are we going to manage being completely remote for a period of months? That's a pretty big question. What if I give the question to all the people who work in the organization and say, we'd like to hear from you. What do you think about this? What are your insights and ideas? How do we have ourselves stay effective, connected, and confident? I don't know the answer. I bet we do. So I think it's really important that we create opportunities for people to contribute. When people are contributing, they feel safer than they do as they wait for some wisdom to come at them from someone else.
I think leaders should be prepared to be surprised and delighted by the ideas and wisdom that come from putting a group of people together and getting input from a wide array of individuals.
Me too. And it's delightful. I think it's actually soothing for really senior executives when they realize that the answers to their biggest questions could actually come from other people.
Right.
And you have this experience of, hey, we actually might be smarter together than we are separately. So that's the second one. Give people opportunities to contribute. The third one, a kind of shallow way to say it, is don't argue in an email. With that one, we mean when you're going through this much tumultuous change, there's going to be constant needs to realign. And where there's potential disagreement or where alignment is at risk, don't try to do it through email and text, because I don't think anybody can give us very many examples of where they resolved an argument or a serious misalignment challenge through email or text. You want to add more senses so people can hear mood and nuance. They will more readily truly understand one another, learn from one another, and then come up with a path forward. So the third thing is just be very conscious of the level of potential disagreement and how many senses can you add. Like you and I have got more senses than are available in an email or a text. How many senses can we add to assure that we actually truly do connect with each other, understand each other, learn from one another, and chart a path forward?
You know, it occurs to me that all three of these are actually really smart leadership communication principles in any circumstances. And it's interesting how in times like this, we often forget the things that we know to be true and to be smart and retract. And I think the encouragement that you're offering, that we're offering, is actually to increase the level of communication, to increase the intentionality, and to not retract.
I do think that they're smart universally.
Mhm.
I also think that when we're together physically, we get away with misstep and mistake in different ways,
Mhm.
that we don't have as much room for error when we have fewer of our senses engaged in being with one another. So you're right, they do become more important to be rigorous about because we just don't have as much room for misstep and mistake. So for all of you that are listening to this, we hope that those three things are of some value. They have been to us to be the source of accurate information, not the subject of worry and gossip, to give people chances to contribute, share the big questions when you don't know the answers to them, and to actually really engage with people in communication venues that are appropriate to the level of disagreement. So don't argue in an email. So that's all we've got about this at the moment. Robin, you want to say anything in closing?
Just if this was helpful to you, join us later this week. We're going to do a live conversation sort of along the same lines with our colleague Jim Matroni. So join us for that.
Because we will be looking into, in the Connection Diaries, what are all the different ways we can connect powerfully, still keep producing results, and build community and confidence. So we look forward to being with you along the way. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.